Welcome to Puzzle Dungeon Workshop. I'm Direct Sun. Today I'm getting some help from Nick LS Whelan, the voice of Blogs on Tape, aka Link Skywalker.
Oh no.
That's right, I know what it stands for.
You don't really, but...
Oh man, I hope to find out more. But rumor has it that when Nick was told that WotC's CEO said that they were all in on digital for D&D, Nick said, "No, I'll just keep to my papers and pencils, thank you very much." How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing well, thank you very much.
Well, now I gotta ask, what's the real story behind LS?
I mean, you're not wrong. The real story there is that when I was 14 years old and, the internet was this new thing, I was like, what are the coolest two things in the world? The Legend of Zelda video games and Star Wars.
I chose the right
books
guess
more
today.
than the movies, but yeah. So I smashed them together and I was like, I'm Link Skywalker 14, and that's what I was for a very long time. And it became like it was very important to me that I remain somewhat consistent over the years, because it has happened that like people will come back into my life. They'll be like, "Oh, I haven't spoken to you in 20 years, but I searched your username and I was able to find you." And I really value that. But man, I think I stopped being happy with being a mash of two IPs within like 3 or 4 years of coming up with it. And a couple years ago I just realized, why am I putting myself through this like uncomfortable identity? So as a compromise with myself, I go by Lamellate Slime or Lace Sabatons usually. Just I keep the LS in there, and it's
Yeah.
in my name because it is an important part of who I am. But
I like it as the middle
but oh my
initials in
goodness,
there.
I do not, I don't like being Nick Link Skywalker Whalen.
All right, I should have asked you before. Next, I could call you
No,
Lemonella.
it's hilarious that you dropped that on me.
I can call you Lamelletta Slime if you'd like.
Lamellate Slime.
Lamellate Slime. What is lamellate?
Hmm. Lamellate is like a interlocking or overlapping like set of plates.
Okay.
Like a snake or armor is lamellated.
I was thinking like plates of the earth, right? When you get like earthquakes, is that lamellate?
I don't know if the term would apply, but like, I mean, there's a poetic similarity there.
All right, so you got overlapping slimes.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of incoherent intentionally.
Okay.
Just as a further rebellion against being, like, again, a mishmash of two massive intellectual properties. I was like, I want words that don't make sense. The other one I go by Lace Sabatons. It's like a Sabaton is a piece of plate armor, right?
Okay.
Lace plate
so
armor.
You got the armor
is
in
just
there.
Inherently absurd.
I thought maybe the slime might have had to do with one of the adventures that you wrote with the slimes and the undead. Sanctimonious
I did
slimes?
write that, but no.
Yeah.
Sanctimonious slimes.
Just like slimes and undead, I assume, and armor.
This. Yeah. I mean, I love both of those things. Undead slimes.
Dig it.
I like armor too. I'm a pretty orthodox nerd in that sense, I suppose.
You like procedures too.
I do like procedures. Procedures are good.
Did you have a hand in the stuff in Errant too, or do you just really like the system?
I I I I'm a 50% stakeholder in the system in a capitalist sense, and I was an influence on some stuff, notably the social rules, and I wrote some of the grimoires. But the vast majority of the text in that book was written by Ava Islam.
Yeah. So I think the pitch that I remember from that was rules light, procedure heavy, right?
Yeah, rules light, procedure heavy. Like the that was sort of at the an early stage of us kind of like working out how procedures would work
Hmm.
in our games going forward. And when I say we, I don't just mean Ava and I mean like a sizable group of friends who were like talking about what we wanted out of our games. Um,
So it started as kind of like a
and
group think thing.
I mean, I suppose so. Yeah, those yeah. It, a lot of people who make D&D are friends with each other.
This is true.
And then we talk and we come up with ideas and we, yeah.
Very true.
It feels wrong for anyone to take particular credit for coming up with those ideas, but
There's a post that I saw on your blog uh, recently when I was poking around, and let's see. It was proceduralism on a red world alone.
yeah, yeah.
I really liked a lot of the stuff that you were talking in there, especially incorporating the domain phase explicitly at the beginning of every session. I thought that was neat.
Mhm.
It's been, I mean, I've had domain play in the games that I've run and some that I've played in, but I think it's like hours, maybe like, I don't know, less than 10 hours of play total in my life of domain play.
Yeah.
But you've had that
I
game
think that's
running for a
pretty
long
common.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, somewhat. I think that's quite common. I think something that often draws my attention, like through the years I've been doing this, is all of these modes of play that people describe, uh, and then I never seem to be in games where I get to experience those modes of play. People like tend to avoid it or like get bored of the game as soon as they engage with it, and then they pick up a new game and never get around to doing domain play or like high level hex crawling, those sorts of things. Uh, so yeah, I really wanted to engage with domain play, and I did feel like I was kind of coming to it like as a tabula rasa. Like I didn't know really what it would be like experientially. I just knew in theory what I wanted out of it. Uh, it worked okay.
Um, it sounds cool, man, especially the setting that you're running with it in. Would you go over the setting just briefly for the uninitiated
Yeah,
where it takes
absolutely.
place in?
So I should clarify, I'm not currently running it. I haven't been running it
That
for
was one of my next
like
questions.
yeah, it's been a minute. I did run it pretty consistently for a long time, but it tapered off maybe 2 years ago now. But the setting it's called On a Red World Alone, and the premise is that humanity, in a future time when we were doing pretty well, we had figured out how to live together in a society, and we were like moving forward. We were on our way to a maybe a Star Trek kind of future. Uh, and one of the first steps to that was we built a colony on Mars, a big domed city. And as soon as the last group of colonists, like they were getting settled, and shortly thereafter, a rogue planet hurtles out of nowhere through the solar system, collides with Earth, and suddenly this small colony of people are the only humans left. And like there's no way that they can continue to function as a society in the way that they've known without Earth. Like they were not set up to be completely self-sustaining. Uh, and then I course sort of hand wave a 500 years of barbarism as humanity falls apart. And my
That's just so.
intention when I
Yeah.
started running it in 2016 was that's the background setting. Now you guys are basically living a medieval existence. Uh, and my players rebelled against that idea immediately. Like within the first adventure, they had like tracked down like some wizard who understood technology so that they could like start pushing civilization back
Yeah.
towards a a more technologically evolved, if not socially evolved
Your
state.
players were all in from day one.
I mean, I had a pretty big rotating cast actually.
Oh. Do you
Yeah,
think the domain phase in the beginning really helped push that then?
so that's not actually how that ended up happening.
Oh,
The When I started in 2016, it was just bare D&D. Or rather at the time Lamentations of the Flame Princess, but uh it wasn't until I think it was like 2021, I think, that I then I had taken some time off from the game, and coming back to it, I was like, okay, you guys have accrued so much like power within this world. We need to introduce a domain play aspect. So it was only then that we started doing the domain stuff, and that version of the game only lasted for about a year and a half.
all right. Yeah. That's interesting. So you changed the game in order to accommodate your players' interest, and they had that interest in the domain play because they were becoming those movers and shakers.
Yeah. Uh, Although how much of that was actually my interest is who can say?
That's blurred.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to steal one of the domain phases that you had in there, the determine consequences procedure. I think the first
Yeah.
one with the roll, which is basically here's the consequences of all the shit that you have done, and you just keep adding to that big old table and roll it in the beginning. That's pretty cool because
Yeah.
I definitely forget about that stuff, and I have notes spread over many different books, and it's like, oh yeah, they did do that. And I feel like a table that I roll on every day is a really great refresher for that.
Yeah, it's there's too much to keep in your head. I find just making notes and then randomly determining which note becomes relevant when, that that removes me enough from the decision making that it makes the world uh reasonably organic to me.
Right on.
I keep touching my nose. It's weird. I'm sorry. I
I
don't know why my nose is
That's okay.
itchy.
Your nose is itchy. It happens to the best of us. Um,
Mm.
I want to talk to you about blogs on tape because I think I had heard of your blog before, but then when Blogs on Tape was recommended to me, I don't remember how I saw it. That was when I started. I mean, through Blogs on Tape, I think is how I got a lot of my blog reading or listening done. Um,
Yeah.
a lot of times I'll have something like bookmarked and I'll put it away and maybe I'll forget about it or I'll see it months later. But
There's a lot of blogs out there.
there are a lot. Is that kind of
Yeah.
why you got started with it to kind of make it easier to manage?
No, it was purely selfish on my part. I I I think that the genesis of the idea was that I was going to do audio recordings of my blog posts, and I would like link them in each of my blog posts. And my hope was that I could help generate a culture of doing that, so that other bloggers would do that with their blogs, and then I could, you know, read some blogs while I did the dishes or rode my bike or
Yes.
something. That didn't end up. I Before I even did it the first time, I was like, no, this I if I want that, if I want other blogs to be read, I need to be the one to do it. Um, I still tried to make it a community effort. I really had this idea at the beginning that I would be able to like get large groups of people to like record 4 or 5, 6 episodes each, uh and that didn't really end up happening. It ended
You
up
have
being
gotten some volunteers
I
reading
have
stuff, right? Yeah.
I have, and that's nice. It is genuinely really great when it happens. It, because one, it's great to have multiple voices
Yeah.
doing things. It's also great to have someone else doing some curation, someone else deciding what's important to them.
Yeah.
It kind of sucks that I'm the one deciding
I know.
what
It seems like a
exists.
big responsibility that you've taken on.
I never intended it to be, but I guess it really isn't. It's not a big responsibility. No one's looking at me and judging me. I still try to be somewhat conscientious about how I do it.
Right on. You talk about accessibility of the blog posts in there, and I mean, I definitely think that it's more accessible for me. But I mean, I can read on my screen. Do you ever get folks who read a majority of blog posts on like screen readers and stuff, like reaching out and saying like that your podcast has helped?
Not in any numbers. I think it might have happened once or twice, but by and large, no, actually. Which, you know, uh, I I don't think that I am actually making like how do I want to put this? It's good that it exists for people who have like visual vision disabilities, but like it's kind of a drop in the bucket when it comes to like actually addressing the issues that someone with like visual disabilities would experience trying to engage with the hobby scene. uh
Yep.
yeah.
Hmm. So
But
yeah,
accessibility helps everybody, right?
I agree. It shouldn't be an afterthought for a lot of projects. It should be at the forefront, even though it is a relatively small percentage for most use cases. Um, I think designing that in mind is important.
I mean, whether it's small or not, I think like they're people who are going to be like valuable members of the community, right? Like it's work that you do that makes the hobby space not just accessible to someone who will like observe it and enjoy it for themselves, but someone who then can be in it and contribute to it. And like when you're bringing in people like that might not otherwise be there, they're going to have interesting perspectives and they're going to have like interesting shit to say.
I agree. I like that you've reached out to the community and you've asked for help supporting the podcast in however way that they can, and you've gotten those folks coming on, suggesting those blog posts for you, so you don't have to do the curation, reading posts. What other ways can people help out for this to keep blogs on tape alive?
I mean, right now, like nothing. It's I so I feel like I should spread this as far and wide as I can because people often seem ignorant of it. That it is a seasonal podcast. I'm not a huge like I'm not passionate about the work of recording audio and editing audio. These are uh, it's not my favorite thing to do. So I genuinely set aside a little bit of time each year to do it, and then I walk away from it for a year or a year and change. Um, so right now I'm in a walk away. I've
Yeah,
walked away from it. I'm not even thinking about it really. Uh, it there is a Kofi associated with it. The hosting costs, they are there whether I'm working on it or not. If we want the old episodes to remain accessible, I'm gonna keep paying for it out of my pocket, like for as long as that's a thing that's possible for me to do. But certainly it I'm way less likely to need to make the decision between my hosting costs and other necessities of life if the podcast is like paying for itself via donations. So that's
gotcha.
big. Um, I do appreciate having guest readers. Uh, I do put a lot less emphasis on that now, just because my experience over the last 6 7 years of doing this has been that someone will be interested in doing a guest reading, and then I need to put some significant amount of effort into like showing them the ropes, like getting them going on doing it, and then I almost always get exactly 2 episodes out of them before I never hear from them again,
Hmm.
which is not an attack on you, direct son, who has done 2 episodes of blogs on tape.
You've heard
It
from me
is it
now.
is it is just kind of a funny coincidence. I wonder what it is about this kind of project that prompts 2 episodes of engagement out of people. Uh, but by and large, that's actually not a very good return on the work that I need to put into like getting someone up to speed. Uh, so I I mean I can pump these things out at this point. Like I can sit down and do like 2 3 episodes a day. So at least on depending on the length of them.
Right on. All right. So yeah, I could see how doing things in a seasonal way could kind of help free your mind a little bit, take care of it at a certain point, come back to it later. Um, well then I'll ask you, when's the next season of Go Die in a Hole?
You're having Arnold on later, right?
I am.
Yeah, you should talk to Arnold.
For
No,
those
like, please.
for the uninitiated, you and Arnold K speed run old TSR modules, and you do that while you're spitballing creative changes as you go.
Mhm.
How did that start?
Honestly, it was fully Arnold's idea. Arnold came to me one day and said, "I have an idea for a podcast. Nick, you've done podcasts, and I trust you as someone who would be able to engage with me in these conversations. Like, can we do this?" Uh, and my response was like, "Yes, but editing podcasts of 2 people talking, I I really hate doing that. I don't like it. uh, so you need to share the burden with me." And Arnold absolutely did. Uh, like, but it is a lot of work, and both of us are quite busy with other things, and ultimately, what happened is we tackled a very big module that took a lot of time. We had like 6 episodes for it. Like 4 or 5 of them were edited. I don't remember. We were not even halfway done with the adventure. It kind of became a bit of a boondoggle for us.
All right. Well, we're gonna have to group think an idea to get this back in action because I know a lot of people who would love to see this thing come back, get more episodes.
It is it is genuinely like so surprisingly popular for me. Like I have like 600 YouTube subscribers. Uh and there's like I don't post anything on my YouTube. My YouTube channel is just random videos that I upload because I want to share a video with like a friend or a family member. And then 600 people also see those things because that's also where we put these like experimental go die in a hold episodes that we never had enough of them to create its own place for them.
Yeah. I'm happy that your personal YouTube channel can get a kick from Go Die in a Hole. I want to see more of it. Uh, and yeah, if you're an editor out there who wants to help with that, should they reach out to you and Arnold?
I don't want to put that out there for
Okay,
anyone. This
I
is
take it back. I'm
this
taking
is
it back out of the
yeah.
internet.
I mean, it's not a thing that we have any budget for.
Yeah.
Uh, so like it would whoever edited it would need to be doing it as like a passion project, and that would be a stupid way for them to use their time. They should not like come edit for me for free as a passion project. There are There are way better things you could be doing.
Get it? It could be making puzzle dungeons.
Exactly. Ooh,
Uh,
look at that podcast transition on
ooh,
you.
yeah. Well, before we get into PBJ, came up with that just on the fly there. Do you want to talk anything else? Do you want to plug anything? Do you have anything coming up? I usually do this at the end, but a lot of times I forget.
Mhm.
I'm remembering now, and also I don't know if anyone's
Yeah.
going to watch to the end because they may just want to
I
see you.
don't have anything big right now. I like a year ago I published a little adventure called Sanctimonious Slimes versus Expired Epicures. It's available from Killjester Publishing. I think
Yeah,
it's quite good.
I think Between Two Karens
Uh,
reviewed that too. I think they thought it was quite good too.
I I'll have to trust you on it.
That's okay. Brad a while back he says I don't listen to podcasts, uh,
I
which
know
is fine.
it. Yeah, yeah. I listening to podcasts is rough, and like listening to reviews of your work is rough. I do it in measured doses.
All right. Well,
Mm.
lucky for everyone now, this is not a review coming up. It is a developmental editing pass. So it's something that you might give to a co-creator, a friend that you trust, and you say, "Hey, how is this? How can I improve this? How can I change this?" Something that you might have this conversation with your editor if you have money or time to trade goods and
Mhm.
services for uh, developmental editing, which not all of us have, but all of us deep down inside of us want puzzle dungeons. That's what I believe in my heart of hearts, and that's why we have Puzzle Dungeon Jam. It's running till December 15th. I think when this airs, there won't be a lot of time left, but I will let you in on a little secret. If you get something to me, I will still give you feedback on it, even if the jam ended. We need more puzzle dungeons out there. I want more puzzle dungeons. Deldin said that if I can get a group together, he's going to run his puzzle dungeon for me. So that's exciting.
Is Deldin the author of this one?
Deldin's not the author of this one. Deldin's the author of The Door Locks Behind You, which is like a Zelda like kind of rule
Familiar.
system. There's a sample dungeon in there also by them. They don't have a lot of puzzle dungeons out there, so I'm excited that they are making another puzzle dungeon for this. I don't know if they're submitting it for the jam for other restrictive reasons, but it is going to be out there in some form, which makes me happy.
Nice.
As well
Yeah.
as all of the dungeons in this jam, too. I think we have 9 entries here so far, and we're going to be looking at the Thief Trap today.
I'm so envious of this idea. Like, I wish I'd come up with it.
I don't know what to
It's
say to that. I'm flattered.
Wait, John Out West is you?
Oh wait. Oh, sorry. Jeez, I thought you meant Puzzle Dungeon Jam. How big is my
Oh,
head? The idea of the Puzzle Dungeon Jam.
the Puzzle Dungeon Jam I also appreciate. I think it's really interesting the way that like the game jam culture has migrated over to tabletop games through the intermediary of itch.io, it seems. I think that's sick and cool, and I'm glad this is a good one. I've seen a lot that didn't interest me as much. This is a very interesting jam. But I am talking about the Thief Trap, which has just a great premise.
I do
I
dig it. Do you want to talk about the premise?
Yeah, if I was a less scrupulous person, I would steal this. I tell you. So the Thief Trap is a it is a dungeon that a town has set up and spread rumors that this is where the town keeps their wealth, specifically to lure in adventurers or thieves and whatnot, who will then die to all of the horrible traps inside. And rather than being those thieves, here to overcome those traps. The players have been hired to go in there and clean out all of the dead brigands and reset all of the traps and clean out all of the gunk. I love it.
I really like the premise as well. As I was reading this, I got so excited, I decided to run it for my group. So we actually just ran it on Tuesday, so a few days ago, as of this recording, and it went really well. And I had some notes before that. I made a few changes, and we could talk about that. And
I will be interested to hear how running it went as we go through.
absolutely. So how we usually do this, and you mentioned the author, but I didn't say it out loud myself. This is The Thief Trap. It's by JohnOutWest. And how we usually do the format for these is we give our overall thoughts on it, any big things that we noticed or repeating notes that we had.
Yeah.
Then we can go in a deep dive on some of the stuff. It's a pretty short adventure, pretty tight, three levels, but each one page keys for them. And then we can give our closing thoughts. And that's it.
Okay. So we're doing developmental editing, which, I would say we're not going to do any copy editing, obviously, but with anything that you're putting out, run it by someone else. Put it in front of someone else before you put it out into the world. Just get those copy editing notes, get those spelling corrections, because you will be shocked how many you miss. One in particular I will point out is there's a word that appears in here a lot that I don't think is the word that you want. Deus. I think you're referring to a dais, which is just the AI inversion.
Yep. That's the exact note I got from my players, actually, was that it needs a proofreading pass. But that's fine. That's an easy
everything
fix.
does. Everything does. I spell okay. Multiple times I have put out 1-page PDFs and come back 4 or 5 years later to read them after I have become fresh eyes, and my God, I misspelled every third word in them.
Indeed. Don't wait 4 or 5 years, but
Yeah,
a week is fine.
Yeah. Or just get someone else. You have at least one friend who can read 8 pages.
I agree. So overall, I obviously really loved it. I love the premise. My major things I think that were needed, it needs a wandering encounter table. I think that would change this adventure a lot. How it's written right now, there's not a lot of time pressure. You go in, you change the traps, there's static enemies and static rooms. It needs a little bit more life in it there. Every 10 minutes, maybe, you put in a denizen that's already there, right? We got cannibal goblins, we got zombies to draw on, the bear, if it's still alive, maybe some other monsters in there. Something to put the pressure on them and also set off some of these traps again. Get them on their feet. My players, when I ran this, they were immediately thinking like people working on a dungeon. They say, oh, we can't reset this trap yet. We've already reset the trap over here. This is our only way out. We need to do this on the way out. And if you got a zombie stumbling in at the last second while they're rolling a boulder up a hill, which is very close to what happened in the game when I ran it, that's going to throw a fly in the ointment, because I ran it with wandering encounters, and it does bring it out. It brings it, I don't know the right word, but I feel like it's...
it brings the problem to life.
Yes.
Because that I do agree. There's a sort of there's a missing sauce to the idea of going into a dungeon to reset traps is really great, but in the way that it's actually executed, I have a lot of questions about. And a big question for me is this a cool idea that has been written down, or a cool play experience that has been translated? Because I think that really, that creates a very different kind of mental process that you have to go through to put words down that will communicate something that works to another referee.
Agreed. Get out of the notes, get into the habit of conveying that ideas to another person who is then going to convey those ideas to their players.
Yeah.
That's the kind of headspace.
I so before we get to, well, maybe we're still in the general portion of this.
Sure, we are.
Yeah. I every room has like a tagline, and I didn't feel like those were doing any valuable work that I could determine.
Yep.
It felt like it was like maybe an attempt to inject some humor into it, but I think it kind of fell flat on that count. You could try punching it up to like make them jokes, but I think that page space would be better spent with some kind of like additional description on how the area works. Like I am gonna have like some questions as we go through that, you're gonna need to add words if you want to answer those questions, and you're gonna need space if you want to add those words. And I think this is something that you could gain some space on every page by just dropping these off.
It is written extremely terse, and it was,
which I like.
It was nice. It was up to me to kind of describe things as they were. I'm not super flowery when I'm running my game, but all I need is like the smells, the sounds, which I could get from these descriptions, so it was fine. I do get what you're talking about here. Like one of these, the one line after here, after false treasury, is an end for the dungeon for the dim-witted thieves.
That was one of the best ones. That was the one of the cutest ones. There was one actually that it was almost it was the pendulums, swinging axes that make safe passage dicey. That was funny, but then you added and leaves thieves diced, which you just explained too much of the joke at that point, and you undercut yourself. But that one was pretty cute otherwise.
It's cute. I thought a little bit of the information could be reorganized. It would make it a little bit easier to run. One of the things was the incursions. I don't think you need that section at all. I think all or almost all of them are in just one spot. They don't really roam around, and you can have that wandering encounter table as a separate thing, but you take these things and you put them in the place where they are. The mimic goes in the treasure room, the undead go in the spike room, the bear goes in the pendulum room. That's where I need it. That's where I'm going to look. I'm not going to look back at the incursions. And if I have to, I'm going to be bouncing all over the page.
Additionally, with the incursions, they're all phrased in a way that I had a strong reaction against. They all tend to have a very prescriptive, like here's how you solve this. To just take the first one, the bear in the pendulum room is starving. Lure it to the pit trap so it falls to its death. Use fish from river or drowning room. And I'm like, this is I was unclear actually whether this was information that was meant to be given by the townsfolk to the party, because it was prescriptive like this. Why is this not just like the bear likes fish, and then elsewhere there's fish here, or even the bear likes fish, there's fish in X and Y location, but to like tell the referee what the players should be doing, it just feels bad.
I did have that initial jerk reaction when I read it, but as I read through the rest of them, I could see how it could be set up as like this is an idea for you as a GM to kind of latch onto and maybe hint to your players if they're having trouble. I do agree that the
Yeah.
language could be changed to make it a little bit more generic. Like, it is hungry. There is fish here if it needs. You know.
Like that is you as an experienced referee doing some interpretation for the text. I think the text could be improved to make that
Totally.
more accessible to a less experienced referee.
Totally.
If we're gonna roll into the specifics,
Let's roll into it.
I would like to suggest we go backwards,
Okay.
because one of the strong feelings that I had in level 3 was that like that our guy ran out of steam and kind of phoned it in towards the end. And I think the dungeon gets better the closer to the beginning you get.
I didn't have that gut reaction. I did think that there were some things at the bottom level that should be changed. I have some notes like the placement of certain rooms I think would facilitate play a little bit better if they were rearranged. Um,
So the magic mouth, the labyrinth, and the illusory bridge, I fully don't understand any of these three major locations in the bottom. Uh, and the let's see, what is the mirror of desire.
yeah,
It's the most magical thing here, and
you're right. It's just not being
apparently
utilized.
not only is it not being utilized, uh, so for the listeners, there is a structure to this dungeon, which is here's the map that the players are given by the townspeople, and the map includes like information about all of the things that are there, all of the traps,
I really love
and
that. It's
and
got
some
notes on
thoughts.
them.
It's great. It's one of the it's so compelling. And it's like the mirror of desire. The mirror shows what you want most, and then like often there will be a note associated with something like it might have been moved. Like the villagers, they've they have records of how people have fucked with this dungeon space before. Like, oh, someone might have moved it, someone might have tried to like claim it as treasure. If it's been moved, put it back where we have it on the map.
Yeah.
I think that's great. The map is the only place where it's noted. It's not described at all in level 3, which is weird because level 3 is inhabited. Like level 3 is actually like kind of cool. It's the most changed. It is the level that like has been completely reshaped from the map, which is a great progression, right? it's
Yes.
it's conceptually like you've gone through levels that have small changes from the
Yeah.
map, but this level has been completely reshaped. There are inhabitants down here, but what are they doing with the mirror? They just don't care.
Nothing. It doesn't have a key.
Like, listen, they're clearly like they're deprivated, right? These goblins down here, they're cannibals. Like they don't have enough food. They don't have anything going on. This mirror that shows your deepest desire, that would be their TV. They
Yes.
they would be fighting over who gets to watch that thing, and we're not even talking about it. That just seems like a big missed opportunity to me.
Yeah, that's perfect. Um, as we're kind of going through this, I'm remembering some of my big takeaways. So can we back up just a second? I love the talk that we're
Absolutely.
doing for floor 3, but I wanted to do some big ones that I thought.
Yeah,
Not
overarching.
not just in floor 3 that we're talking about, but in some of the other ones, there are notes and headings on the map which don't have a key, which is very confusing for the referee when running it.
Hmm.
There should either be a key for that if it's important, or if not, maybe the formatting would change a little bit just so that we know where it is in the key. I know that would kind of mess with the verisimilitude
It,
of
it's
the
got to be a
map.
handout though.
I know it's got to be a handout. I know that
Yeah.
would mess with
Can
the
you give me a concrete
verisimilitude.
example? I'm
Well, I can't find anything now, so it's terrible. I guess a lot of them are on room 3. Maybe that's what I was thinking, and that's what you kind of brought up, because the Magic Mouth doesn't
yeah,
have the entry, the mirror doesn't have an entry, the labyrinth doesn't have the entry.
yeah. It's very disappointing. It is like it's like you were getting to the end of the project, maybe feeling like I don't know if John had some sort of like personal like deadline that he was working against, but level 3 feels unfinished.
All right. One of the big things that I thought too was if there is a wandering encounter table, or even if there's not, we need to loot the body table. These zombies used to be
Mm,
adventurers. Uh, my players wanted to check the body. This is a place to you know, trap the thieves. They were thinking of it like, okay, we're gonna rake in all of the stuff from these thieves that they had stolen. Maybe they stole from the townsfolk. So I needed to spend
yeah.
some time looking for a good loot the body table.
Which actually highlights something that I hadn't even thought of, but there really is no reward at all in
Yes,
here.
that it's the second thing I was just going to talk about. Stronger motivation to finish the job. So
Like, and it doesn't have to be in the dungeon. Just say that the townspeople are gonna give you something cool.
something cool, a good reward. I was thinking a Suicide Squad situation too. Like you need to complete things to the satisfaction. They got a crystal ball that they stole off a thief, right? They can see your work in the dungeon. They're
All right,
spying on
Gary
you.
Gygax.
Well, here, let's flip it, right? You inherited this dungeon. There's an adventuring party. They're retired. They set up this dungeon and they say, "Hey, you know what? We're retiring. We're going to make the yawning portal and just do whatever. Uh,
Mhm.
you're our retainers. This is your prize. Go and clean it up, clear out the traps, and it can be yours." And talking about motivation too, I really wanted to see some treasure here, some real treasure,
Mhm.
something to tempt them and have them push their luck. There's a part over here on the second floor with a dragon whelp, um, which I didn't fully understand. I know that there's a cavern here that is not on the map, but I didn't know if that was also another exit slash entrance. It says
It
here,
is. I think that's pretty clearly stated.
it
Like,
says here you could use it as an exit, right? It should be mentioned
yeah,
in the front, I think, so you know when you're running it that there's an alternate entrance. I don't know if they're going to come that way through the waterfall, but it's an option.
I'm gonna disagree with you.
Yeah.
I like I think that that's something that a referee who read this module and if they felt like that was appropriate to the way that their players were approaching this dungeon,
Mm-hmm.
they could include that in their world. But any dungeon like this, it just sort of it's set up to be run as like as a one shot, as a hey, we're sitting down and we're beginning in room 1. They're like the exterior world, it doesn't exist quite yet. And discovering an additional exit that is probably, somewhere out in a wild land that's disconnected from any place that any people might be wandering and would have no reasonable expectation of finding. I think it's reasonable, and there's a long tradition of those being only discoverable through the dungeon.
All right, you convinced me. What did you think about the location of the cavern? Because it says it's just off the restroom. I just off the restroom.
Yeah.
Um, I had a
That's
little bit
yeah.
of a I had a little bit of a problem like placing it, and that might just be
Yeah.
me because I mean this map is for the players, right? But I felt like I could have used a little bit of guidance, like oh, it's like in the middle of the room to the north or something, just something so I would know where to put it.
I I think I'll stand up for John here.
Mm-hmm.
I also was confused. Like I'm reading this with my my notepad open for to write down criticisms in right next to me, and I definitely, as I was like, well, there's no cavern on that map. But once you've actually read
Yeah.
the 2 pages of not very dense text, it's pretty clear that's like, yeah, this is the map that you give the players. It's what the townspeople know about the dungeon, and something has happened, some collapse, some burrowing has happened to alter this one room. You don't really need a different map for it. And like,
I think I
does
had that
where it's
knee-jerk
positioned in the
reaction.
room matter?
But when I did run
Like,
it, like it wasn't an issue. I knew that it was there. It's described there. I would have liked to see it in that entry, but this works okay. I'm
I
actually
don't know
not
what it would
sure
add though.
for the dragon whelp. Although you may
Yeah.
need a description up top over there too. So I usually wouldn't like the incursions there at the top, but if there was a key entry for the cavern and it wasn't on the map, I might not think to look there. So a
Yeah.
little something in the front there like changes to the map so you know what to look out for.
Yeah.
There is a cavern
I
with
mean,
the dragon
honestly,
whelp.
you could just like have a small doodle here in the key, right? Just like here's the rest room. It's not a bathroom. It is a room where people can rest
Oh,
safely.
right on the other
Uh
side, right. Yes, a little mini map
yeah.
there.
You could include that in line. Just that room. Here's how it looks different.
There you go.
And that would probably that would help the referee read the text and feel like they were in on what was going on rather than needing to piece it together. But I also think it doesn't take a lot of work on the referee's part to do that. That's a minor quality of life thing,
Right on.
I assert.
Okay, and the last thing, hopefully, I swear, until I remember something else. Um, the maps, I love that you can give them to your players, and I love the notes. I love everything about the maps. They're perfectly fine. They are made probably with dungeon scrawl, I think. And I think that this is a perfectly appropriate place to have like a hand drawn map, like a shitty sketch over here. I think that would be a little extra something. I don't think it's required, but I think it would be a beautiful thing to show to your players instead of the dungeon scrawl.
I always prefer to see shitty hand drawn maps.
Right on.
But that's just my fetish. So
All right. I'm sorry.
as we're
So,
moving up here,
yeah. I was gonna say, do you want to go back to the three? What do you want to talk about?
I mean 3. Oh, you know what? You're right. I'm not done with 3 yet. I don't know if this podcast has a time limit, but I have some things to say. The goblins. So with an adventure like this, there's always a sort of tension between how concrete you want to make a thing, right? Like, you say there's a monster in the room. You say there's a bear here. Do you say like, what the bear's stats are? Is that something that this module needs? Or do you trust that the referee like can stat out a bear?
Yeah. Well, there are no stats in
And
here, so I think it's the latter.
there's no stats in here. And I've put out a lot of things like that. I don't think that you need everything to be super concrete. I really don't. I like to have things a little bit nebulous, a little bit loose, because fucking there's so many little systems now that people are going to be running things with. Like, let's be realistic. The kinds of people who are going to be finding your niche like PDF are also the kinds of people who are running some system you've never heard of.
If you're gonna have a module without stats, having a bear, goblins, a mimic, and
Yeah,
zombies—that's the perfect way to go. I
very
know how to
safe,
play any
very
of those.
good. I do think though that it goes a little too far on level 3 because the goblins are kind of everywhere and there's a society of them, but we don't really know anything about how many of them there are, or I don't know. I want to know more about the goblins. I want, like, are these guys tough? Should like are these guys gonna like pose more of a challenge to the players? Are they numerous, or is there like 8 of them? Is there 5 of them?
And
Is there
do they
20 of them?
do they eat each other? That is the burning
Do
question
they
that I
eat each
have.
other? Because like that, because they're called cannibals,
Yes.
but I think that John meant that they eat
Human,
humans,
right?
which
I
is
played them
not
as
cannibals.
cannibals. I played them as cannibals
They
and it was
should
fun.
be cannibals.
One of my
You were
players
correct.
one of my players chose because okay, so I had 2 players, right? They played 2 characters and a dog. Um, so there were
Love it.
5 things. It did a little FKR style, and one of them, yeah, one of the players chose. It was Dwiz. He had 2 goblins, and so yeah,
Love
he
that guy.
saddles up next to another goblin. Another goblin comes over to him, and he's got like the necklace of bones around his neck. I'm like, but they're smaller than human bones, right? And he's like, oh, how small? He's like, yeah, they're like goblin bone sized. And he's like, and he's like sniffing you up. He's really getting close to you, right? So yeah, I wanted to know more about them. I want to know about their eating preferences. They're goblin cannibals. Do they prefer goblin meat over adventurer meat? If you can turn them against each other, would they prefer that? They eat from this pit from
Yes.
adventurers, so I mean, they're not super picky, but maybe they would like some fresh meat. Are rations too stale? Are they too salty? Um, can the
And I think
PCs
it's
use
easy to
this?
hear
Yeah.
these criticisms from us and think that you need to write a lot. But I don't think you do. I think you can keep it as terse as it is, like 1 page per description of floor, and answer some of these questions. Like, easy to do.
Agreed. Exactly as you did with the bear in some cases too, right? The bear likes fish. Fish can be found here. The goblins
We'll
prefer.
get to the bear.
We'll get to the bear. I'm sorry. We're on level 3.
One last thing for level 3, and it is actually a bridge to level 2. Uh, what's the deal with the bridge on level 2? It's it's not a trap, but also it is so precarious to move across that it provides a steady source of food for the goblins down here, which presumably means that it's actually very, very dangerous. Like, most people who try and cross it die. So it seems very strange that the players are assumed to just kind of be able to move across it.
The only note that we
I
get,
I'm I'm unclear.
yeah, the only note that we get for the bridge is that it is in need of repairs, right? We got sounds of chewing from below. We got the chasm below, but it just says a bridge in need of repairs, and this says no trap here. Make sure the rope bridge works. I actually have a
I
note.
I think oh no, you're right. You're right. That is it.
Yeah, my note is on the map because it says make sure the rope bridge is working. I just cracked up laughing when I read that because I knew that when I handed this to my players and they saw that, like they would be like, obviously it's not going to be in working order. How are we going to test this? What are we going to do? And I was excited to kind of see that interaction. I didn't need too much because I already knew like yeah it's busted. There are planks missing in here. The rope is fraying. It needs to be repaired. And any player looking at this and looking at that would be like, we should just repair it. And that's what they thought. And they came at it from both sides. They came at it from the east side and the west side. And then it became, how the hell do we repair a bridge? And so they had to work out how to do that together. And of course, I had wandering encounters, so they had that time pressure there, and that's what made it a challenge. As written, without the wandering encounters, it feels flat.
Yeah. Yeah. I think wandering encounters would make the bridge make sense. Uh, it's a tough dungeon to level 2 in particular. I'm not sure what would be wandering. Like, level 1 you got zombies, level 3 you got goblins. Level 2, I guess you have the whelp, but that's kind of rough. And I kind of like level 2 as like maybe a bit of a respite, except for, yeah, like the the bridge needs something
So I think we got
to make
oozes
it
over here.
mean anything.
I think
Yeah.
we got oozes on this level because we got the gelatinous cube. It says check the oozing side, but it's a cube, right? And how this
Mhm.
wound up working out hilariously for my players, classically hilariously, to the letter. I was so surprised that it worked this way because the gelatinous cube is described as, where is it? He's in the arrow room, floating armored
Yes.
skeleton, right? And that's how I described him, completely transparent, floating in the middle of the traps, slowly moving towards the fleshy bits that this thing recognizes.
It's a cool idea. Yeah.
And my players were immediately like, we don't want to touch that thing. We're extremely scared of it. We want to get the hell out of here because they have the strong motivation to stay in. And as it kept following them and kept moving around, I kept thinking like, okay, they're moving across the bridge. They're running away. It's going to go across the bridge. The bridge is going to disintegrate. It's going to be in the third floor. It's going to see them again. And that's kind of what had happened. Eventually, it gobbled up a goblin, right? And I described the goblin as flesh is being burnt off. It can't move. It's just moving around, but it's right next to the skeleton. And they're like, "Oh man, that's what happens when you touch the skeleton. It's necrotic. It turns you down. We don't want to touch this thing. It's a slow moving thing." And they tried to wrap a rope around it, and it frayed. I just really, what's this is to say that the gelatinous cube was good. It's good described that
That's
way.
fun. Yeah. The gelatinous cube is fun. The gelatinous cube has one of the most baffling sentences in this book associated with it. Which is let's see. Use the hammer trap to crush it, then put it back in the slippery slide. I understand that there's like a hammer trap in the dungeon. It's a big hammer that you can trigger to come down and smash something. I'm not clear on the mechanics of why hitting a gelatinous cube with a big hammer would make it something that the party could move to a different location.
I don't know. I would just remove it completely, right? Maybe a little note that it says it goes towards the nearest living or organic matter, right? The nearest organic matter. You could throw down like rations or fish, right? And maybe it'll gobble up the fish and just, put it in the hole or something. I think the players are going to figure out lots of ways to get it back in the hole if they were motivated to get the ooze back there and they realized what it was.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they've been sent here to do this, and like I think if we the goal here, as we are all designers, you, me, and John, of making this dungeon better. The goal here is to get the players to fix this place and reset the traps, and the ooze is one of the traps we want them to reset. I like trying to maybe like pull out some of what maybe the author was thinking here is maybe oozes don't like maybe a gelatinous cube is kind of like a thing that comes about when oozes congeal together and come into like a slimy agreement with one another, right? And that if we divide it, if we put it into itty bitty pieces, then it's no longer in that agreement, and it can be poured into a pit to be a simple danger without like the ability to move around.
Wow. Spoken like someone who's
that makes a kind of
spent
sense
some
to
time
me.
thinking about oozes.
Yeah, I like slimy stuff. I like goop. I like some goop.
That is a wild idea.
It makes sense to me. And I think that's maybe what John was going for, but that took more thinking than a referee should have to do when they're reading a module in order to get there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's even necessarily what you want, because that's you're describing a whole ecology of what an ooze is. And really what you just want is for some little guys to find an ooze and lure it into a hole And that
Yeah,
that can
exactly.
be much simpler than like luring it into a trap somewhere along the way.
I agree. So we skipped from 3 to 2. Were you done on level 3?
I'm done with 3. Yeah.
Okay. I had a couple of things that I was confused on that I think could benefit
Yeah.
from a little bit of
Please.
clarification. I know we talked briefly about the illusory bridge, but I don't know what the illusion is. I don't know if it's like a chasm underneath that needs to be fleshed out. How I played it was like there would have been like a pit trap there, but I played it that there was no illusion because it says that the goblins threw clothes over there to stop it. But I mean, that was just a guess. It would really benefit from a little more clarification on it. The labyrinth, I think, would do better elsewhere. Right now, it's up north over here. They pass by it. They don't want anything to do with it. You know, a little more on the labyrinth, as you said, from the Mirror of Desire, the Magic Mouth. But also, if you placed it elsewhere where they have to pass by it a bunch of times as they're going around and fixing the traps, it's in their mind. They're thinking about using it to their advantage, and I want the players to be thinking about how they can use the puzzle mechanics and aspects as they go through to their advantage. Like maybe they could lure a goblin in here. They're thinking that way, or maybe they could
Yes.
run around and lose them within the labyrinth if they understand how it works. Would they risk going in it if that was their only choice? Should they push their luck to do that?
Yeah.
Um,
The labyrinth is very small, which there's something very interesting implied by this very small, easy to map out labyrinth and the warning, do not go in here. And there's a part of me that wants to like I see why a writer would want to leave it at that. Like what about this tiny like like easier than a highlights magazine maze? Like what could be so terrible about it? But I don't think it's working the way that you want it to. And I think there needs to be something more to it.
all right, we
And
talked
then,
about
did
the
you have anything else you wanted to say about level 3?
we did. We talked about the goblins. The dwarf. Do they function without the arms and the head? The stone dwarf golem.
I
I
forgot about the dwarf.
so as it's written, it said, you know, beware the guardian. You can say these special words. It doesn't tell you anything about repairing the guardian. So my players had that question, like, are we supposed to? I mean, are we going to get paid if we don't? Right? Like again, with the strong motivation. I would have just said, scribble a thing over here and said, make sure the guardian's, you know, doing their job, right? And I would have had them not be functional. So say that it's not functional without all the pieces, or at least partially functional. I thought it would be funny if it doesn't have a head, it doesn't have any arms, but it's still clamoring for you, and everyone's just kind of like walking around it and just like, you know, making it walk into walls and stuff, right? Um, and then, you know, once you have the head on, then it can hear you say those secret words, Thraxzal Kzad, and then it would back off. I was interested to see how the goblins in here used the golem, because they disabled it at some point. One of them sleeping with it, and these are some fun challenges to go through.
Yeah.
And like, how are you going to get that piece together? And it's just kind of like an implied puzzle as you go through. So that was neat. Just needs that little extra clarification, I think.
It's neat, but I also feel like there's this kind of issue here where, you know, if you assemble the golem will just take care of all the goblins. Okay, cool. But like the parts of the golem are so spread out and so like they're being carried around by goblins that it kind of feels like the players need to take care of all the goblins in order to assemble the golem, which it feels like they're I don't know. Maybe like if if the players could be stealthy enough, I don't know.
Something to benefit
Maybe
from
that's something that's a
clarification.
tension that's good.
Clarification again needed, because I assumed that the golem would only stay in this hexagonal square. So I think that might take care of it too.
I think it would go all throughout level 3. I think it would
Yeah.
take care of I think we can assume that if assembling the the golem takes care of all the goblins, then it must clean out level 3. Also, just personal thought, like fantasy words are terrible. They're not as fun passwords. Like come up with 3 words that together like sound kind of rad and nerdy. That's way more fun for players to say. Like cuz you've come up with a magic word that one of the players at your table is going to need to say. Do you want them to say something that they like understand and can like play with, or do you want to give them like some nonsense syllables where they're just going to say to you, "I say the thing that is written on the map."
That's a neat idea. I kind of so you're talking about like a passage that that they can really get behind and kind of enunciate and play out.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, it gives you as a writer like an opportunity to inject like a moment of poetry into a puzzle dungeon.
Right on. And the only other thing that I had over here was the poison jars. I didn't understand how you needed a full jar for these keyholes, and my players were using that poison to poison anything that they could. And I was like, well, it's venom, like it says it's snake venom, right? You got to get it in the mouth. So they were coming up with ways to do it, but it's a lot of venom that they have. They have 6 quarts of serpent's venom. It says.
That is a lot. Does it actually give you a volume? 6 quarts, you're
6 quarts.
right.
The item list is great too, by the way. This is
Yes.
perfect for a one shot, beautiful. And I was like, you can bring any other mundane adventuring equipment you want with you. You know what you're doing. I gave them the maps ahead of time too. I'm like, if there's anything from here that you think you might need because you saw the map, bring it with you. Perfect for a con one shot.
There was a couple times when I thought, oh, like this should be added to that list. And then I checked the list and I was like, oh, it was already there.
Right on.
It's a very good list. It's a good list of items for the townspeople to send the players into this dungeon with.
Yeah. All right. I'm done on level 3. You want to go to 2?
Let's see. Level 2. Let's see. Do we have a time limit here?
I was thinking about an hour, but I mean, I don't have a time limit tonight. Do you? You have a
No,
hard cutoff? Okay, let's do it.
not really. No. Uh, so level 2, we already talked about the bridge. And like I said, I think the dungeon gets stronger the closer it gets to the beginning.
Mhm.
Uh, I have less to talk about here.
All right, secret
Um,
doors. I want an S on the map.
yeah,
I don't think we need the scroll that says the secret doors. Everyone knows what an S is. Put an S over the door, make it a secret door. I was very confused at the start when I looked at the stone singers and the statues are labeled as an S. Make it the statue symbol. Make the little star there. It can be a star with a circle around it and have the secret doors have the S. Um,
yeah.
they're noting it anyway. Use the key.
I do like the lines on the map pointing to the
Yeah.
doors. Use the key. I think that's cute. It is the only like I do appreciate the economy of language here. That's something that I actually like. I really appreciate. You the only indication in the entire dungeon about how this works is one, there's a list of items that the townsfolk give you to come in here with. One of them is skeleton key, and two, there is an arrow pointing to 2 doors which say secret doors, use the key. A lesser writer would like put somewhere in the text like there is a secret door here which is opened by the skeleton key. No, the referee is smart enough to put those 2 pieces together. You've done everything you need to do. An S on the map, though, that's traditional.
I
Let's
I
pay
think
some
you can
respect to
keep
our
the
elders, John.
I think you can keep the note there. I think the S
Yeah,
would help me at a glance. If I was looking at
yeah,
it and
at
I
a
looked at
glance,
the room and I
absolutely.
said, "Oh yes, that's the secret door there," and they noted it there. Um,
I think something that maybe John is listen to give John some like literary credit here. Uh, it is only secret to people that we will never meet. So why does it matter that it is secret?
Well, I think they got to reach around for the keyhole right in the wall. I know. Excuse my French.
I mean, I think that might be something that you did at the
That
table.
wasn't in the description. Hang on.
Like, I don't think
The
so.
false restroom, disguised keyhole in the wall.
Disguised keyhole. I mean, it has to be opened by a key, and it's not obvious. But like, I don't know.
What did you think about that entry for the false restroom? Did you think that they needed a time that they specified? Don't linger here
Mm,
in the key, at least if they
I
linger for a little while.
I don't think you strictly need one. I think I'm gonna side with John's
Okay.
vagary on this.
I didn't need one
Like,
just because my players read the message and said, we're not going to linger here. If they had a reason to linger there, though, if there were the wandering encounters, because I played it with wandering encounters, they encountered a group of goblins at the spot coming up from the lower level. Yes.
okay,
So they were walking through the door, and one of them died actually. Um, and so what wound up happening was all the goblins converged, right? And they're eating their friend, and it's dark. They're busy eating the friend. They just walked over the carnage, around the carnage, through to the actual restroom, and they're like, "Oh man, we really got to deal with those goblins now." But nope, because they lingered, they're all asleep now, and that's how it worked out.
really?
Yeah.
Okay,
So that was a bit of fun realization when they're like, "Oh yeah, they lingered."
yeah. So the goblins don't know this dungeon as well as they don't have the key.
I guess so. Or maybe they just didn't put two
Yes.
and two together. Like they weren't staying in there. They're opening it from the other
Yeah.
side.
I mean, it kind of implies that they've only recently started venturing up, right? That they haven't figured out that this room is dangerous.
Hmm.
Which is at this point we're just speculating about the
Indeed.
the world
It doesn't
implied
say
by
anything
your
about it.
alternate version of
It's
the
true.
of the adventure. But
Yeah. That's all I got for two. What do you got for one?
um, so I did have one more thing with
Yeah,
two,
yeah.
which is the nittiest nitpick. Uh, this whole southern corridor. I don't know how I feel about it.
The one all the way on the
It's
bottom.
Yeah. So there's this corridor. It's a podcast, so I've got a
Sure.
I don't know if you put like graphics up of like the maps or pages that we're talking about,
I have the
but there's
PDF in
this
the background.
corridor
But
that's
some people might be listening and not looking.
yeah. It is functionally for the players who have a map and who know that this is a complete dead end. Uh it goes nowhere. And I don't know. Maybe I like it. Maybe as I came into it, I wrote a note because I didn't think it was serving a function here. But I think that it does work for like bringing the players in on saying like, hey, you know that this whole section of the dungeon is useless. And there is no reason to ever go here.
Yeah,
But idiots who don't have the map you have might go there.
completely agree. I
You know
mean,
what this might benefit from is just like uh some like uh, places where there are dead brigands, dead thieves for the players to clean out.
yeah.
That's something that this whole dungeon might benefit from is
Well, I think this.
little you can't use X's because you use X's for something
Yeah.
else, but some symbol that's like, yeah, there's a dead body here, 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 and here.
Dead bodies would be fabulous. A loot the body
Yeah.
table would be great. I think the zombies, maybe I didn't read that, but I think the zombies on the first level are supposed to be implied like they were thieves
Yeah, for sure.
and they turned into zombies because of this, because of reasons.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to explore that too, though. There's a Lochnar at the bottom level, right? And they know the townsfolk know that that is a quirk of this area too, to add as like another trap. They know that the dead come back to life. I don't
Mm,
know. Maybe you got some waterlogged zombies in the drowning chamber.
I mean, not enough dead come back to life. I feel like, but it is an interesting question to answer, right? Like maybe those guys were just traveling with an evil cleric. Uh, like an evil cleric led their party, res them all as zombies
It's true.
before she died too.
It would be good having the
Uh,
dead bodies.
yeah. And now we've moved to level one.
Let's do it. I'm on level 1.
All right. So my number one problem with level one, uh, is why doesn't the bear just go eat the fish that it has a safe passage to get to?
Yeah, it can go to the waterfall.
There's nothing stopping it from going to the waterfall. Even the door is explicitly open.
It's a jar.
Like, and yet the bear is starving.
Yeah, would probably be able to
That's
smell the water too.
yeah. That's just a I I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I think like I have a an adventure that I've even put out that has like a similar thing with a bear that is like kind of anachronistically in a place that doesn't make a lot of sense. But like you've got an animal, it's got easy access to food. It doesn't need to be starving. I think the simple thing is to just like have something there that makes it feel like it can't go
Yeah.
to the
That
waterfall.
that door that's ajar, have it be stuck.
Yes.
It can't get through the
Like,
other way because there's a spike floor
yeah. I mean, and zombies. I can
and zombies.
completely believe that a bear encountering undead, like, it's like, no, I absolutely will not go that way. And it will starve to death rather than go that way. Makes complete sense to me. And then the other way, the door is stuck. That works.
Perfect.
Yeah. But I mean, level one is honestly one of the most. It's
Good.
very solid. I
Did
don't.
you have anything else for
Yeah.
level 1?
Let's see. Um,
If not,
I had a
I
couple
yeah.
copy editing notes, but those are not worth stating. Um, the chests. Okay, the
Mm-hmm.
chests did. They felt a little odd. They're burned, but also empty, but also the fire spouts that attack people who try to loot them are clogged. And I don't know, it feels like a nitpick, honestly. But it just seems like you kind of got to pick one of these things, or two of these things. But like, if they're burned, then like, are they empty? If it when you tell me a chest has been burned up, I imagine something that could not reasonably contain things. Uh, and when you tell me that the like fire tubes are clogged up and need to be unclogged by our diligent dungeon
Yep.
cleaners, I'm like, well, then how did they make these chests get burned
Sure.
up?
So let
Maybe
me
the chests are
read
scorched.
let me read the full entry and I can see how
Yes.
that confusion could come about. And I'll tell you how I imagined it, which is completely different than the text. And I could see how
Mhm.
that could be confusing. False treasury. At the end of the dungeon for an end of the dungeon for dim-witted thieves. Describe, which I think those could be that word can be taken out also in the text. 3 burned chests, all empty. 1 unburned chest, mimic. 3 short daises, they mean 3 short daises, which are the trigger. A wall of clogged spouts, where the fire shoots out, which is described elsewhere. Uh, an obviously secret door, which goes to another spot, right? How I described it to my players when they enter this area, there are 3, no, okay. There are 4 chests laying on the ground. That should be specified. They're on the ground. They are not on the pedestals. There are 4. They immediately said, 4 chests? Oh, there's 3 pedestals, right? That's what they should be thinking. They're iron chests, and they're covered with soot. There's soot everywhere. That's
Yeah.
what happens. The fire goes over there. The smoke has nowhere to go. They're covered in soot. Well, we're going to rub the soot off the ones that have it, and then we'll put them back on the chest. Well, what about the one that's not burned? We're going to stay the hell away from that one. And that's what they did. They immediately picked up that it was a mimic, and I think it worked as intended.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
just making that distinction, I think, would help other referees to make that leap also.
Yeah. I agree. I think the way that you ran it was kind of the ideal way to run that room, and the ideal way to write the text would be like to help a less experienced referee have the understanding that you had.
Agreed. Definitely.
The the drowning chamber. I just thought that the dangling of animal skulls on the walls is an odd trigger. Like in what way is that a triggered? Like, do the players need to go up and yank on dangling animal skulls in order to flood the room? I don't think anyone's gonna do that. It seems like a trap that needs a easier to activate trigger in order to be effective.
Gem-studded eyes
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
skulls.
yeah. Something like, yeah, some treasure to tempt
Yes.
someone that is
As my
not actually useful.
one of my blogger friends likes to question when talking about encounters and situations, they say, "What is it going to be today? Blood or treasure?" I don't see any treasure, so unless I want blood, I should stay out of here.
Yeah, yeah.
So you
You
give
need to
them,
tempt people.
you give them a lure. You give them the
Yeah,
little carrot at the end of the stick over the pit. So yeah, I think switching this up with gems dangling down or something, or gem studded, uh, you know, animal bones would work fine as the
I
trigger.
think that's a
Yeah,
that's a very useful change. And like, you don't put real gems in there because that's the real wealth of the town.
you're right.
You put like, yeah, like shiny rocks.
When I said they should be real treasure in here, I put it with the dragon whelp. They have a modest
Yeah,
treasure hoard. They're laying on it, and I made sure that the players knew that when they saw the sleeping dragon and they moved past it, and they knew that they could get it if they wanted to. They're like, "Hey, how
yeah,
come they didn't have anything about the dragon on this map? That's
yeah,
weird.
yeah.
That should be there." And that's a good
You've
thing.
got
They should be
plenty of
questioning
locate.
that.
Yeah, like treasure should not be provided by the people who made the dungeon, but you've got people who tried to loot the dungeon and died here. They obviously had
Yep.
some kind of treasure that they came in with. Scatter little icons throughout the map, and like just a random table for like you suggested of the treasure that people find when they get those. The dragon whelp should have a minor hoard, small hoard, very small hoard,
Yep.
but like that's a good location for treasure. And then the goblins
Exactly.
definitely like could have accrued like, consider all of
Yes.
the dead people that they've been eating. They will have gathered a lot of treasure
That would add
from
so
that.
much to their
Yeah,
encounters also if they were using adventure equipment in weird ways. Like one of them's already
yeah, yeah,
cooking using the flame trap, totally dungeon meshy style. I've watched 3 episodes. I haven't watched the rest. But they do. They're using the flame trap to cook. They could easily be using like a +1 dagger to use as a shish kebab or other just
yeah,
funny weird
yeah.
things in there.
Yeah, that's one of that's I quite like that bit, the natural flame geysers. And it's like the people who sent you here are like, oh, maybe they need to be cleaned out. They don't need to be cleaned out. The goblins are keeping them clean so that they can cook with them.
Yes.
Perfect, great. No notes. Like, that my job here is to be critical, but like, there's a lot of good stuff in this little 8-page dungeon.
That's perfectly acceptable. I think talking about what talking about what makes the adventure shine and what to focus on is really important about
Mm.
this editing pass also. But I think that's all I
I
got.
have
You have any? Oh,
I
sorry.
have exactly one more note,
Yeah, what you got?
and it's super minor. What is a registry in this context? I'll find the specific. So the entrance, the entry, like it's a large hexagonal room, and there, you come through a waterfall, and there's a large empty hexagonal hall, and in the center is a dais with a registry, which the dais flips over into a pit, people die, and the registry is bait, but I don't know what is meant by registry. And I mean, maybe you're about to tell me that I'm ignorant of some very obvious thing that I've never heard of, but
I completely blanked on that word. Actually, I didn't read that at all. I completely skipped the word. I saw trap and bait, and I knew what it did. I knew it would drop them into the pit below, right? And they know that. It says falling pit trap on the map. Will fall to death if stand on dais, they mean. Throw thief remains into the pit for easy disposal. So I think I looked at it and I completely blanked on the word registry and I said there's treasure up there. I said there's a chest, I think is what I said.
yeah.
But I don't know what a registry is. I guess it's like an open book.
Like my only thought was that it's like an inventory,
Hmm.
like hey, here's like a book that describes all of the things you will be able to find in here. Ha ha ha, it's a lie. It's meant to lure people to their deaths.
Yeah.
But that's, again, that's me trying to fill in the gap.
Yeah.
I
What would
I
you put
I
there?
don't know. I I think an inventory is a funny idea. I think that, like, a hilarious idea is, here's a book that has a version of the maps that you've been given, but everywhere that your maps say that there is a trap, it says that there's fabulous treasure.
Hmm. That'd
You
be
know?
interesting, like another map. That's interesting. So there probably wouldn't be a reason for the players to interact with that or get the map. So it doesn't matter if you draw the map. You could describe it
Yeah.
as that.
Yeah, I
Say
mean,
that
it's
there
just
are treasure in
everywhere
certain
that you
spots.
that you have traps,
Yeah,
it has treasure.
that's a neat
That's
idea.
all you need. Yeah.
I think would play it the same way that I did. That I would put like a chest there that's just stuck to the ground, right? And you move to like open it,
Yeah.
and the chest just sticks to the platform, so it always stays in the right spot. Um, I guess I had it in my head
That makes
that
more sense.
a party that comes in here might check the fake treasure just to see if like there was real treasure anywhere. I don't know why I had that in
Mhm.
my head, but like if you saw something convincing enough and it mismatched the information that you had enough, like the dragon, they might be more inclined to look at it. The group that I was playing with was very cautious, so they didn't have that. But I feel like I would have the option just on the chance that they wanted to inspect and maybe have a little surprise for those who want to look. It doesn't have to be on this first room, but maybe something left by another party, as you said, like maybe they wanted to hide something like underneath, like a fake treasure, like they had intentions on coming back for this. I'm not 100% sure on. It's not a fully baked idea. I just thought about it, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, that's all
I
I
think,
have
like,
for this one. Sorry,
yeah,
go on.
same. Like I said, I feel like fully, like, 2/3 of the issues I had with this dungeon are either completely structural or they're on level 3. Level 1 and level 2 are very functional.
Yeah, I think
They're
a lot of
good.
the things that we were talking about can be cleared up very simply just with a few word changes or formatting changes or moving information around, as you said.
Yeah.
Level 3, I agree. Now that you pointed out, yes, like those entries, they could use like another bulleted entry for it and a little rearranging it and giving it a little bit more life with the goblins, that would really make it pop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, that sounds like pretty good final words on the thief trap to me. Do you have any more final words, or right?
There when you're doing layout on on something like this, you don't need to mix indenting the first line of a paragraph and line breaks. You can choose either or.
That's a good point.
That's my final word.
This has been The Thief Trap by JohnOutWest. Before we head out and I let you go, I wanted to talk again about Puzzle Dungeon Jam. I know there's not a lot of time left, but this has been Puzzle Dungeon Workshop. Make something for the Puzzle Dungeon Jam. I will look at it. It's okay. Forget the deadline. The deadline is there as a forcing factor for one reason or another. Don't tell anyone I said that. If you want to run a game for me, I'm available at 7:30 Pacific time. I'll play in it. I hope I'm going to be playing in that other game too. I want to play in the puzzle dungeons. I make some puzzle dungeons. I get to run them. It would be fun to play in more than a few. I've played in a couple, which has been a very fun experience. Brad Kerr ran me through one of his, which was really fun. We were catching elemental Pokemon. It was a good time. Nice, if you want to check out the jam, and I always forget to say this too, but there's a bunch of puzzle dungeons on there that you should grab and run. They're great. This one's fantastic. You should run this for your party. There's 9.
It really is.
There's 9 submissions. They're good. Go look at them yourself. Support these creators. There's also puzzle dungeons that are pay what you want until the end of the jam, until December 15th. Aberrant Reflections, my puzzle dungeon, mirror puzzle dungeon, is pay what you want. So is the Seer's Sanctum. Brad Kerr was nice enough to put Fabian's Atelier from Wyvern Songs as pay what you want, which is a fantastic puzzle dungeon. And Delden put pay what you want, The Door Locks Behind You up, which has a really good sample dungeon and procedures for making a puzzle dungeon, seeds and stuff to think about. So that's beautiful. You can get that from the Puzzle Dungeon Jam site. Check it out. Do it. You have till the 15th. It's www.puzzledungeon.com/jam. Get you straight to the itch page. It's magic. It's beautiful. And one final thing before the absolutely final thing is a familiar tower, which is my puzzle dungeon, which is crowdfunding on BackerKit as part of Zine Month. I know there's a lot of months. There was a Mothership Month. There was a Mouse Rider Month. There's going to be an OSE Month in March. There's a lot of month overload right here, but we had the month. We had the month a long time ago, before 2020. It really popped in 2020. We had the month. It's Zemo. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. This is launching with that. It is an escape room puzzle dungeon. And it's really going to put a smile on your players' faces. I really love it. I ran it at GaryCon. Other people like it too. You don't have to trust me on it. I have some other people that you talk to if you want. I'll tell you who they are. But if you like Legend of Zelda style puzzle box dungeons, you will like this, and you will like the Puzzle Dungeon Jam. It's good stuff. You go to BackerKit. It's www.puzzledungeon.com/tower. It's magic. It'll get you to this BackerKit page. You press this button to sign up for an update when it launches, which is going to be in February. You get that reminder straight to your inbox, and it'll make me so happy. I just like seeing this number of people who have pressed that button go up, and now it wants me to verify that I'm human. Trust me, I am. I like seeing the number go up. Please do so. It's going to be a good time. We got Sam Sorensen doing the editing and the layout, and Sam Mamelli. I'm chock full of Sams and Sorensens in my life. Skullboy is doing the artwork, the cover, which is beautiful, and the internal artwork. It's good stuff. I like it, and I think that you will like it too. That's all I have to say on that. And before I forget, Nick, thank you so much for coming on. This has been fantastic. I didn't think that I was going to be talking to you and seeing you at the same time. I thought I was just going to be listening to your beautiful voice as you do blogs on tape for forever and ever until you drop dead at the ripe old age of 120.
God willing.
So thank you for coming on.
All of us bloggers are way more accessible than anyone who reads blogs thinks. Thank you for making me feel relevant for an evening.
All right. Well, I don't think that's up to question. You've been great, and this has been fantastic. Is there anything else you wanna go in there right now? I'm terrible with the ending transitions.
You know what? I'm gonna just throw out.
Sure.
Gus LaRue has a book coming, Bones of Bronze. It's so good. It's so fucking good, you guys. I spent a year and change doing developmental and line editing on it. It's gonna be so good when it comes out. Keep an ear to the ground for Bones of Bronze.
Bones of Bronze.
It's gonna be rad.
I tried to do a search just now. I couldn't find it, but if you want to...
There's not a lot out there about it, okay. Honestly. It's... Right. I don't know if he wants me doing promo for it, but I don't know if you've noticed, I've had 3 snifters of whiskey while we've been talking, so...
No problem. Keep an eye out for Bones of Bronze. You heard it today from Nick LS Whelan, the voice of Blogs on Tape, the voice of Papers and Pencils, both of those together, the Link Skywalker himself, the Loretta Slime,
Lamelate Slime, Lace Sabatons,
the Lace Sabatons,
Nick LS Whelan,
Nick LS Whelan, the one, the only. There you go. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you so much.